Good morning everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name is Robin, and firstly I just want to say a very happy new year to you all watching out there. I hope you all had a lovely 2019 and a very Merry Christmas as well. I had a lovely break over the Christmas period. I went down to Tasmania to see some of my family. And to be honest, I was going to vlog a lot of the trip, but because I'd already been down there earlier in the year to all of the same places, I'd already taken so many photos and documented it all. I just wanted this trip to be really special and relaxing and to spend time with my family. But I might insert a few clips here just to show you some of the places we went. Tasmania is honestly one of the most beautiful places in Australia. If you're ever in Australia, I would highly recommend going. Honestly, anywhere in Tasmania is beautiful, so you can't really go wrong. I had to move into the shade a bit because it is super bright this morning. And I also went to Canberra to do a bit of a family reunion, birthday kind of thing for my grandpa, which was lovely. The only thing, we were having like 40-degree days down there and the smoke haze was pretty intense, but I'm glad when I came back up to southeast Queensland, a lot of the smoke has kind of disappeared, so very thankful for that. And we also got quite a bit of rain. Well, quite a bit being like enough to make it green, not enough to soak the ground or anything, so I'm still having to water, but it's nice to see a little bit of green grass around and not the brown sticks and dirt that was here before I left. So I'd love to hear about your Christmas. If you want to comment down below, tell me what you did, what you got. I got some really good presents actually from my partner who knows me well. So I got backyard chickens by David Ingham, I think is his name. We're not getting chickens right this moment, but in the near future we're kind of looking into it. And I also got one of my favorite mugs at the moment, which is a new chicken mug that I'll insert a photo of here. Scott and I have a tradition where we give each other mugs on Christmas Day and then have coffee out of it, and I am in love with the mug that I got. And I also just picked up a few things down in Tassie and Canberra that I thought were nice because I just wanted to treat myself, and yeah, it was just a really nice time. I ate a lot of food, drank a lot of drink, and now we are trying to slide back onto the health kick, which is very hard. But one thing that I have been doing is, since I got back, is cleaning up the garden. So the garden was looked after while I was gone, it was watered and everything, but I just went around the other day and picked up a lot of weeds and a lot of the dead tomato plants, dead zucchini plants, and put it all in the compost. But today I just wanted to do a quick run over of how the garden is going, so my plans for the future for my little permaculture garden here and with the raised beds as well. So I will turn you around and show you how the garden's going. So I just gave it all a bit of a water because I forgot to do it yesterday and things were looking a little bit droopy, so a lot of the capsicums are looking droopy. But we got so many capsicums. I'm going to insert a picture of a harvest the other day that I did. They are absolutely delicious. So I harvested a lot of the sweet wax. I think they're Hungarian sweet wax, and they were delicious. I can't remember what these ones are called. They're called Californian something. I'll put it on the screen. But they were really delicious. And everything else is looking a little bit sad. I think my native raspberry died. The pepinos are hanging on just. The zucchini is on a comeback. I've mulched it with some compost, so hopefully that'll be okay. And the okras are looking a little bit sad. Other than that, all of this row is coming out, and this row here is staying pretty much the same. My two Cape gooseberries are doing okay, and the tomatoes down the end are also not doing too bad. So I'm trying to implement as many permaculture principles as I can. I'll insert a few links in the description down below and some good articles on permaculture principles and permaculture zones. One of the main permaculture ethics, or the top tier principles I suppose, is to observe your surroundings. So I've been observing this garden and pretty much the whole garden across all the seasons pretty much, so I know where the sun goes, I know where the water goes, so I'm going to use that to my advantage now when I'm planning this garden. So this garden is a little tricky because the sun comes up over here in summer, but it comes up over there in winter. So a lot of this gets shade in winter, and it's not the most productive winter garden, but in summer it gets full sun pretty much. So the sun comes up from over there and goes right over. It doesn't touch the trees or anything, and it sets way over there. On days where it's not too hot, the plants absolutely flourish because they get full sun, but on days when it's really hot, they don't do so well. They basically get cooked, like a lot of these plants down here, exhibit A. So to combat that, one of the main things I'm going to do is implement shade, because in summer I'm not going to worry too much about winter. In winter, a lot of this area is going to be greens and lettuce, which don't need a lot of sun anyway, so when the sun is behind the clouds it's not going to matter. But in summer this garden just really isn't productive. So my goal for this is to create shade on a few different points. So all of this area here in the morning is fine, but in the afternoon when the sun is like that way, it's coming down here and hitting all of these plants and pretty much cooking them, because the afternoon sun here is ruthless. So what I'm going to be doing is planting a shade plant here, and over there, and this will kind of give a little bit of shade for what's behind that during the day. See, I'm going to try Rosella. I've got some Rosella seedlings that I'm going to plant in here, one here and one here, and they will bush up to about that high. In here about 1.5 meters or so mine usually get to, and that'll create a little bit of shade for down there. This bed here will grow up and give a little bit more shade as well. This is all full of pigeon pea, and the okra I'm focusing on fertilizing and feeding them now so they grow really strong, because they have been struggling, and they're also going to grow up and create shade for these plants. I'm pretty lucky in that the water here kind of drains in this way and it drains out that way. So this pathway here that I'm standing on is pretty much the high point, so the water drains out, so I don't have to do too much changes to the drainage here. This garden here is going to act as my in between zone 1 and zone 2. So zone 1 is usually where you visit every day, you're tending to your plants, you're bringing in your compost and that kind of thing. And your zone 2 is something that you don't tend to come to every day, but you're still visiting regularly. That's going to be more this garden, which I'm going to try and move it towards a food forest style where it can kind of deal with itself, as in it'll provide its own shade, it'll provide its own mulch from all of the pigeon pea, and it should start to kind of act like a mini ecosystem in itself, although I will be visiting it pretty regularly to check up on it. I've also moved my compost bin in here down the back there. It gets a little bit more shade and doesn't cook as much as the other position it was in summer, so I think this is going to be a little bit better. Alright, so that is that bed. Now I'm going to show you my zone 1, which is my raised beds, and show you my plans for those. Of course, while drinking coffee, I had to get iced coffee this morning because it's already really hot outside, and hot coffee is just not working for me right now. Okay, I'll be quick here because it's pretty hot and I want to go inside soon. But this is what the raised beds are looking like. I'm actually really happy with them. I know they're not that productive at the moment because summer has pretty much killed a lot of my plants, but some things are actually doing really well. Such as the warrigal greens. I'm excited to harvest some of these. I'm going to make a quiche or some fritters out of these. These are native Australian spinach and they grow super well. I haven't really had to water these a lot, fertilize. They grow in really poor soil and they have really delicious leaves that you just need to cook before eating, but I just use them as a spinach. I've also managed to finally grow an eggplant. So this is a mini Lebanese eggplant. This one's ready for harvesting pretty much, and I've got some other little ones on there too. This bed here I topped up with a load of compost and pretty much just gave it a compost mulch. This bed, okay, is going to be my experimental corn bed. I have never grown corn in my life, nor do I know if it can grow well here. I'm trying to grow some sweet corn. Who knows what I will be able to do here. Now I think is probably the best time for me to plant corn. I'm just growing some seedlings at the moment, because before I don't think they would have survived in this bed with the high temperatures. So I'm pushing everything back a little bit so that it also has time to fruit and grow, but it's not going to be in the really harsh December sun that we just had. And then a lot of these tomatoes are on their way out and just need to clear this bed. I really want to plant something up here, climbing kind of plant, I'm not too sure yet. And I've got another pumpkin in there doing well. And I also took out all of my zucchini plants, so they are no longer in there. And the beans down the back, I need to give them a good fertilise because they're not doing too well. But the pumpkin patch over here is doing pretty well. So I suppose the goal for this area here, it's my zone 1, it's where I'm coming to every day. This is where I want to have things that I can pick every day and really enjoy eating on a day-to-day basis. So for this area, my key is going to be diversity. I'm not going to have the same thing in each bed, although with an exception with the corn. I will be planting a lot of corn in a small area. So within these beds, I'm kind of aiming there to be minimum 3 different species in the beds, and hopefully those will be companion plants for each other so that they can do a little bit better against pests. So that's a little bit of an update on the garden and some design ideas that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to continue talking a lot more about permaculture and the different principles and showing you how I'm implementing these into the garden to really create this really strong ecosystem that means that I don't have to do a lot of the work. In organic farming and gardening, the workload can be pretty high dealing with pests, weeds, everything like that. But implementing different permaculture principles to suppress a lot of those nasties is hopefully going to help me out in the long run. So that was just a quick or not so quick update on the garden. I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you continue to enjoy your holidays if you're still on holiday. And I'm looking forward to filming many more videos in 2020, showing you the garden and cooking videos. So I'd really love if you could comment down below on what videos you'd like to see from me. I'm really interested to know why people are watching my channel and how I can improve it. So your feedback would be greatly appreciated. So I'm gonna go do a few more jobs in the garden and then head inside. I hope you all have a lovely day wherever you are in the world. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And until my next one, happy gardening. Bye.